Hello, Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa is a British pop singer who has been huge over the past few years, and I've been a fan. I've been a fan ever since that debut album, which wasn't great, but it definitely showed hands. It definitely showed some potential in what she had to offer to not just British pop music, but international pop music in general. I think like she got huge hits with New Rules, and I don't know if there were any others that made it huge. Like, were there any others that made it across to the States, to America? I don't think so. You may have seen my best pop songs of the 2010s video a few days back, in which I included Be the One, which I think is an amazing song and probably still one of her best. So yeah, there was definitely reason for me to be excited for this new one, because the singles leading up to this were friggin' great. I was like, mate, we are gonna get one of the best pop albums we've had in so long. Like, you guys remember I was pretty lukewarm on Sweetener, even Thank You Next as well, which was probably slightly worse for me. And then there was I guess you could count Lana Del Rey maybe ish if you're squinting, because she isn't really like mainstream, but she's pretty popular. And then there was Billie Eilish, which I thought was pretty good. I wasn't like amazed by any of these albums. And even going back to like 2016, 17, 2018, like I can't think of really any big pop albums that I've been like, wow. Not to say that I think mainstream pop is bad or anything like that, but I think on an album scale, on an album level, not really any out there for me. I don't think that particularly that great until now. Because you know why? That Justin Bieber album was fucking great. No, of course I am talking about this new album here from Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia. Yeah, I think this is great. Like, there are some weak moments, definitely, but I think front to back, like out of the 11 tracks, I think she really gave us some really good music here, like genuinely danceable, infectious, groovy as hell pop music with so much damn melody, so much catchiness. I know it's a pretty cliche thing to say about pop music, like catchy, obviously, but like seriously, man, she fucking killed it on here. Like, there are so many great tracks. Like the first leg of the album, like that tracks like 1 to like 4, I think it is, like stellar. And then in fact it's even 1 to 5, because we get Levitating straight after Physical. Like that run, who is on that level in terms of like mainstream pop right now? Like, who? I can't think of anyone that's dropping like consistently great catchy songs start to finish like that. The very tongue-in-cheek opening tongue-in-cheek opening track, Future Nostalgia, where she's kind of like being cocky and bragging about, you know, there ain't anyone out there that can do it like me, you know. You think I can't bring this? I'm bringing it right now. And I don't know, like, usually that kind of stuff gets a bit irritating and a bit like, oh, don't be so cocky, don't be so arrogant. But the fact that like she followed through from like that track onwards, like it didn't just like dip in quality. It would have been pretty terrible if it dipped that bad after that opening track, considering what she's saying. But it doesn't. You get the great Don't Start Now straight after, which is more of like a relationship type track. I think this track honestly sets the tone for the album more than the intro track, more because of the content, because on this track she's very much explicitly, you know, going into the details of like a relationship, that kind of thing. And then from here on out it becomes pretty apparent that she's going quite sexual with a lot of her songs, which isn't anything new for pop music. I think sex sells, it always has, it always will. She dropped a very sensual video for Physical, which is obviously a very obvious track that you don't need a critic to explain what it's about, honestly. But like, even from there on out as well, you're continuing with this theme, this very raunchy pop style. Tracks like Hallucinate, very much just detailing her her obsession with someone, the fact that she can't live without someone's touch, all that type of stuff. Very much indicative of what is very stereotypical about pop music, but I think she brings it with so much charisma, personality. The fact that the tracks sound so good as well, like the production level is so on point throughout this album. Tracks like Love Again remind me of, like, you know, mid-2000s Madonna, which isn't really like a highlight for Madonna's career, to be honest, although it's at least better than the 2010s, but it does remind me of some of the stuff that she was giving us in that era as well. I think even Levitating might be the best track here as well. Just such a well-produced pop song. Like, seriously, this should be one of the next singles. I think this could potentially be huge for her, but at the same time, I'm not entirely sure how many more singles she'll keep dropping and how well they'll keep doing, because I don't think Future Nostalgia really did that well as a single, even though I think it's friggin' fantastic. Good in Bed has been labelled as one of the weaker tracks, but I actually think it's kind of funny. There's not really anything deep here going on lyrically, but I just kind of find the attitude of the song just pretty fun. And people have compared it to Lily Allen in like the mid-2000s, late 2000s-ish, which I think that's a really apt comparison. I think Lily Allen would definitely write a song like this, especially during that period. I don't think it's particularly that bad. I don't think it's the worst track, because the track after it, the closing track, the final moment on the album, is the idea of the message is pretty fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think the fact that she says, you know, you're part of the problem if you're offended by the song, is pretty much on the nose and kind of derails the message that she's trying to send, to be honest. But that's actually the issue with the song. It's how she's presenting the message. It's how she's putting forward what she's trying to say. It just doesn't work. Like, I don't see what's so good about the song. I see a lot of people, especially her fans, praising this as like one of the best tracks. And the fact that, you know, she made a statement, she spoke up on something. It doesn't matter. You look, if you're presenting a message and you deliver it that poorly, then you may as well have not delivered a message. I think a weak message, like presenting a weak message in a way that she tried to here, is worse than saying nothing at all, because it's falling on deaf ears. No one's going to listen to this and take it seriously. The whole like mansplaining line that she drops as well, it's just really silly. Like, I can't take it seriously. You know, boys will be boys but girls will be women. Like, come on, did you get Lizzo to write that line? Like, this is some like really weak self-empowerment type stuff that has no weight to it attached at all. I just think Dua Lipa is way better than this, and it didn't even fit the album either. Like, this track coming right at the end after all the other songs didn't really work, and it honestly just made me want to go back to Stella Donnelly's Boys Will Be Boys, because I just find that so much more impactful. I remember listening to the album, and immediately after I was like, I'm going to play that song again, because it's been a while since I listened to that Stella Donnelly album, and yeah, it's a really harrowing track that doesn't try and push anything onto you. It just tells you as it is. It just says it as it is. There's no, you know, you won't get this because you're mansplaining, that type of shit. Like, there's no buzzwords that mean nothing. Like, it's just telling a story as it is, and it rips you apart listening to it. It's so powerful. And that's where Dua Lipa fails for me on this album. I just don't think this track works at all. But it doesn't necessarily drag the entire thing down. It just is a weak moment that really could have been written so much better. Like, it needed better lyrics. This track needed better writing all around. And I'd quite easily just end the album Good in Bed and pretend that that track isn't at the end, to be honest. Because I think everything up until then is so good that it still ends up being a great album. I think one weak track on an album doesn't necessarily mean the album can't be great. I would think that's a weird criteria to kind of like measure albums, to be honest. But it is a shame that we end on such a weak note, because I just don't think that track sells what it's trying to sell at all. So I think it's great overall. I think it's a great pop album. So many great moments. 8 out of 10 from me. Easy 8 out of 10. Definitely going to be a highlight in pop music for the year. And even the past few years, like I say, like there aren't really many popular pop albums that come close to this. There are definitely pop albums that are pretty obscure or lesser known that I think are worthy of being in the conversation, but they aren't anywhere near as popular as Dua Lipa is right now, and there aren't any popular artists on the level of what Dua Lipa is doing right now to me either. So yeah, what a great follow-up album this is. I think this is so much better than that debut album, and really impressive. Just a fun listen from start to finish. Maybe not the exact finish, weekending, but yeah, really good. So hopefully you enjoyed my review. Hopefully you enjoyed what I had to say and you agree. If you don't agree though, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. This will be the setting I film in for a little while, though I thought I'd try something a bit different without my handheld camera style. Thought I'd try and see if I can balance the phone on something, and maybe it's turned out alright, maybe, but yeah, you know, we'll see how it goes from here on out. There might not be as many videos as I usually do, because I am with my family at the moment, so we'll see. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on the album. That would be great in the comments. Thank you. Subscribe and